Can you believe I was almost late to my own show tonight? I went to dinner with a friend of mine, and I got back a little later than I wanted to, and had just enough time to set up for the show. And I just realized that something that I had working previously is no longer working, and I think it might just be a button problem, so I have to take a look at that. Yeah. Hi, my name is Rick Bailey, and you are watching the Foltz-Bailey Model Railroad. And tonight is, what's the name of the show? Friday Night Model Magic. Yeah, it's. I try not to take this show as serious as Sidetrack Sunday. This is just my way of goofing around and goofing off. I will still do the same routines as I normally do when I'm on Sidetrack Sunday, and that's just for me to keep consistent. I see the little thingy on the bottom there is working. That's great. We'll get to everybody shortly. So what are we going to do tonight? I did some work on the little building project that we were working on. I actually went a little further than I wanted to, so I'm going to catch you guys up because I did get pretty far. But I ran into some troubles, and I'm glad that I did because it gives me something to talk about. I can tell you where I went wrong and some of the things that I found with the kit that were a little wrong and I had to fix and all that jazz. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to finish up with that. My goal for tonight is to, again, explain everything that I did with the kit. And then we're going to put on, or at least try to get some of these accessories on. Again, another part of a thing that I forgot to do before the show. But we'll get through it. We'll figure it out. There's no worries. I have faith in nothing. I'm here to fall flat on my face, and that's the way it's going to work. Before we get into all of the folly and all of that jazz, over the last couple of days, if you guys have been paying attention to YouTube and paying attention to the guys from the STS Crew, a lot of them, if not all of them, have put up a post on their community page that is a survey that the Sidetrack Sunday crew is doing. We're trying to see how we can incorporate 3D printing into Sidetrack Sunday. I'm doing this as a promotion for those guys because currently I'm the only STS member who doesn't have a 3D printer. So I'm just passing along the information here. I got nothing. So Bob is going to post up a link in chat for the survey. If you didn't see it on our community pages, do us a favor. It takes just a few moments. Go ahead and click on the link on the survey. If you want, I can stop here and I can wait for you guys to do it, and we can get it done real quick. I'll mention this all again later when we get a bunch more people in the house. But yes, please take a quick minute, do the survey. It's just a couple of questions. We're just trying to get an idea of how much the community is interested in 3D printing and how it pertains to the model railroads and the models that we use. So we're going to use that information to further some projects that may come up, or maybe some collaborations that may come up somehow or another. It's going to be used. Only 4 questions, completely anonymous. That's what Bob says. So real quick. Go ahead and do it. I want to see. Look, Chessie Systems wants to do 3D printing. So, you know what, Bob? I was gonna explain it in depth, more detail, but I'm gonna leave that to you. This Sunday is Bob's Sidetrack Sunday. I believe. Well, Bob, you let me know. If you want me to explain it, I can explain it. If you want to explain it on Sunday, we could do that too. Either way, I'm easy. But there's the link. It's clickable in the chat. Only STS members. I was going to say, I don't have 3D printer. No, it's okay that you don't have a 3D printer. What we're looking at is basically how much 3D printing you want to see on Sidetrack Sunday, or as a part of Sidetrack Sunday, or maybe as a spinoff of Sidetrack Sunday. Feel free to talk about it. I'll be discussing it. Oh, okay. All right, great. So I'll tell you, and Bob, you please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'll give you the gist of what we discussed in chat. If you guys could take over the next, tonight and tomorrow and even all day Sunday, at some point, try and get the survey done. Again, it's only 4 questions, and then Bob's going to discuss all of the results on Sunday night show. So here's the thing: there is a real big interest in 3D printing and how it pertains to our model railroads. I remember going back months ago, years ago, there were only a handful of us in the community that had 3D printers and that were able to 3D print objects. There was a lot of sharing going on. There was a lot of commerce going on. People were paying other people to do it. People were doing favors for others. Nowadays, it seems like the thing. Everybody, not me, but everybody seems to be getting into 3D printing. Everyone has a 3D printer. So what we're trying to grasp is, with all of this interest in 3D printing, how much of that do you want included into Sidetrack Sunday? Should Sidetrack Sunday stay a show based solely on modeling and model railroads, or are you guys interested in a show where possibly one of the guys, let's take for example Dave. Dave is very good with 3D printing as our Sidetrack Sunday crew. John is as well. John does 3D printing. He's got kits that he's built himself, and has knowledge from what I've read in the chats of 3D printing. So we were kind of thinking 2 things. We were trying to incorporate the 3D printing into Sidetrack Sunday, or possibly even starting a second show, maybe a Sidetrack Saturday that is all focused on 3D printing. So again, those are our ideas. We just want to get a gist of the audience and how you guys feel, and whether or not we should go that route. So your input is what we're looking for. So go ahead and fill out the 4-question survey. Shouldn't take you more than a minute. Like I said, the entire time that I was sitting here chatting, you could have had it done already. All right. With that being said, I've already told you what I want to accomplish. We're going to go over what I screwed up, or what I thought was screwed up. And before we get into all that, let's get the girl up here, because I need some water. I need to drink. Hang on. Here comes Rita. All right. Gotta love Rita. What was I gonna do? Oh, let's jump over to, I think I saw JD popped in. JD, I sold numbers from JD. Where's he at? JD, there we go. 2014. All right. Let's jump over to the participants list here and see who's all here. Let's jump up to the top of the list here. We've got Canadian. Oh, before I go through the names, it occurred to me last week that I am an idiot. I'm a doofus. And I realized that a lot of the names in chat are your guys' handles. For example, I'm FBMRR. But what didn't occur to me is there are people there are you guys that I know, that I'm looking at your handles and I don't know the short names of your handles, which is driving me crazy. because Dan was in here the other night from Dan's Model Railroad, and his handle was, I think, DMRR, and I had no idea who DMRR was, but I know Dan's Model Railroad, and I didn't put those together. So if I don't recognize your name, but I know who you are, just know that I know you from here. There's a couple of new people right off the top of the list there. We'll go in order. Backfire Epsilon, welcome to the show. Thank you for stopping by, bud. I appreciate it. Here's one of those guys, Canadian Locomotive Logistics. I've seen you in here the last couple of weeks. Totally appreciate that you're here. But I feel like I'm not 100% sure if you're just new for the last couple of weeks or if I know you. Either way, I feel you here, and I appreciate you being here. Chessie Systems Clip Fan, I know you're new. I've seen your channel recently, and I'm loving your videos. Good job. Mike from Deep Run Railroad is here. James from Dundas Junction Model Railroad is here. Of course, I'm here. This guy right there, Grandpa Rails, with a bunch of letters here that I'm still not aware of what they are. I'll figure it out, though. Yeah, he's here. Oh, gosh. Curly Express, that would be Dwight. Dwight's in the house. Kyle Stevens is here. Lynn McCurdy is in the house. And Bob over at PK&W is also here. Rusty Possum Bayou is here. Ray Central is in the house. Ron Moen is here. And there's his brother, Ron Montag. He's up here, too. 2 Rons in a row. Of course, as always, John 2, J2 from Schuykill River Valley is also here. And bringing up the last spot on the list is Tom Grassi. Welcome in, Tom. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it much. Just taking a look here, going back through the top. Think I got everybody. Awesome. Yeah, if people don't know you or if people are still using your handle and not your name, definitely put your name up there in chat so we can all address you in the right manner. We would rather be comfortable knowing who you are rather than just calling you by a name, by a handle. Do you see those guys up there on the list that are blue and they got those shields next to them? Well, those guys, they're my moderators. They're the guys who keep me on track, or at least try to, and it never works. But they're also here to keep you guys in line. So if chat gets out of hand, they're definitely going to boot you out of here, or at least give you a warning first and let you know. So those are my police officers. So thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate all of the help that you give me, guys. Every live show, you are absolutely amazing. Let's jump to the schedule. We've only got one more week in February, and that's going to be the 22nd, which is this weekend. Bob's going to take over and do his STS show. So make sure that you guys jump in on Sunday, 8 p.m., over at Bob's channel. All of these guys' links are down in the description of my video. Make sure you click on them and subscribe and show those guys some love. And yeah, we'll get this rolling. The more views we get, the more subs we get, the more it makes the YouTube algorithm very, very happy. So we definitely want to do that. Let's go ahead and let's jump over here to the yeah, let's go side cam here. Why not? And I'll explain some of what's going on, and I'll show you a bit of what happened. It might, I don't know if the camera is going to work with me up here, but we can try. Let's kill that. Where's that thing? Oh, that's what it's picking up over there. Okay, I was wondering what was freaking out behind me. Okay, so at last we met. You know what? I'm going to go down to the bench because it's going to mess with the green screen. I also need my mouse over here. There we go. Mouse is over here. How did my camera get screwed up? Let's do a little adjustment. Bring you guys over there. All right, get that out of the way so the camera doesn't freak out. Okay, so these are the items that are left that need to go onto the building. These are all of the garage doors, the windows, the doors. There's an awning piece. There's a sign piece. All that needs to go on to the building as we progress. And I thought this is probably what we could do tonight, but I just realized that I need to paint all this black. So I might do that really quickly. Maybe you can pin the message. Can I pin the message? Is that possible? You're asking a lot of me. Oh, I can't do it there. Hold on. That means I need to be in a YouTube chat. Let me go back here. I don't use the YouTube chat. So here, pin message. There we go. There we go. Who suggested that? Maybe you could pin the message. Chessie Systems, you get the cookie tonight. Although Lynn was the first one in from what I heard. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, so I want to paint these black. And I need to do both sides because I want to make sure that, like, especially for the doors, like the garage door, I don't want that to be seen as white coming through the other side of the building. Here's the other. Okay, so here's what I got so far. That looks like a good job for a paint marker. You mean doing the paint for these? Yeah, that's an option. You could do a paint marker, I guess. I don't think I have any paint markers at all, I don't think. But yeah, that would be a good option. So here's as far as I got. At last we left off last week. I had the building stained. I had the brown stained on the bottom. And one of the things that I wanted to do that I was experimenting with was getting the stain to weep in on the sides to give that that rustic look there. So I did that on all of the interior sides of the building. And I will tell you something that I screwed up on. I didn't realize that I had to do that before I glued on the trim work. So after we had got done the brown and the dark brown, I went ahead and put the trim on and then realized, oh crap, I gotta get the stuff in there. So I tried with a very fine brush and I tried to brush it into that crack in between the trim and the board, and it did work somewhat. It looks like it kind of just weeped over the wood where you can see it's darker. This part here is actually better because you could see it actually seeped into the wood. So you could definitely tell the difference between what should have happened and what the goof was, but that's okay. I don't mind it. I think it's going to be something that people overlook. So it's not a worry. But then this afternoon, I was sitting here looking at it. And while I was thinking about painting this stuff so that you don't see the black is when I realized I didn't paint my interior, and I should have. Oh, thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that, man. Dwayne Fork and Spoon, welcome in, Dwayne. Good to see you. Look at Bob filling in for John. So I got to figure out. I will probably not put the roof on tonight. I didn't plan on doing any of the roofs tonight. But I want to plan on going back and doing the interior black. I have all this room in the bottom here, so I figured that's a good opportunity at some point to get a light in there. Being that it's some sort of garage of some sort, it would be good to have maybe a flickering light or something, that would fit this style building. So I want to try and see if I can get the door on, the garage door on, with the window on. Oh, here was another mistake, and I think this was a problem in the build, and this was a pain to fix. This outer building was absolutely fine. It sat on that footprint which I had glued on previously. It sat on top of that just fine, no problem. Very, very small, very little overhang, nothing really to worry about. This one, on the other hand, it hung over at least by the length of a bracing block. So if you imagine that being there, this thing came out that far. And it was already glued together, the three sides glued like this. So I didn't have any way of cutting it off. I even tried putting it on the edge of my desk here and seeing if I could, at least put it, in on the desk, and at least I could get a cutting surface, but it didn't fit. It was too small for the width of the desk. So I had no choice but to sit here for almost an entire day and sand that down on both sides to get that to fit onto that plate. I saw someone say, so what are you doing to the floor? Big doors and lots of holes in the floor. So that's a good question. I wasn't too concerned with the floor other than maybe possible. So what I was thinking was, I was going to paint the walls, and then I was going to paint just the perimeter around, like in between the bracing points with black. And then I thought of maybe just dropping a piece of black construction paper in there to cover that up. The other option was to put the construction paper on the bottom, but then that would mean I would have to paint all of that. So I think if I cut a piece that fits in between the bracing, I could just drop that right in there and maybe just put a couple glue spots in case I needed to get into like a corner for the wire or lighting. I could at least, push that side up a little bit or cut a hole or something to make the wiring fit. But that was my thought for the bottom. We'll have to see once I get there. I may not do that part until it actually gets on the layout, and Lord knows when that's going to be. Saw something here. Oh, dude, Ed, sorry about that, dude. That really sucks. I hope things pan out for you, man. That really, really stinks. Best of luck to you. If there's anything I can do for you to help, let me know. Definitely. We're always here to help each other in this community. I like your thinking, Dwight. I need a vacation. So yeah, let's get to that. Really quickly, just a thought that popped in my head. I did get to speak to. Well, I was texting with Nisi this afternoon. She is doing much better. She's on the mend. I'm trying to see what I can share, and I don't want to get too personal with her information. If you weren't aware, Nisi was under the weather for a little bit. She had some health issues, but she is on the mend. Things are looking better. It sounds like what the doctors originally thought was her diagnosis turned out not to be. So things are definitely turning around, and she's getting things back to normal. So thank you guys for all the prayers. She did mention that she appreciated all the prayers. I told her that you guys were rooting for her. So if you can, reach out to her, even if it's on her YouTube page, and just let her know that you guys were thinking of her. And I'm sure she would appreciate you guys hearing that from you guys. But yeah, just a small update there. Try live chat versus top chat. Yeah, live chat is the best. All right, so I'm going to put the building aside for a moment. I do have. I was actually painting the other day. I have a. What do you see here? This is a. I forget the name of it. It's a wet something. Somebody want to refresh my memory? Hey, you got the survey pinned. Yeah, I figured it out, Steve. I knew how to do it. I just didn't know to do it. So now it's there. If you have a spare $1 million, well, if I did, I certainly would not be here on YouTube. I can tell you that. I would not be in the position that I am these days. So, but if there's anything else, maybe I could send you up a cheesesteak or, something along those lines. That would work out too. This is called a wet palette, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. The purpose of this, and I'm using it the incorrect way, not really. The purpose of this is to keep your paint from drying out. There you go. Steve's got it. Mason Dixon, good to see you, bud. Alan, it's good to see you stopping in. So what this is, if you're not familiar with it, it's a little plastic tray with a sponge. And you put water in here so that the sponge is wet. You'll see when I put this back down, the whole thing will fill back up with water. And what this is supposed to do, the way you're supposed to use this would be to use either a parchment paper. I believe it's parchment paper, not wax paper. Parchment paper you put over top of this, and then you could put your paints and mix your paints on top of that. And then when you're done painting, you close this up. You can set it aside. I just keep it over here off the side of my desk, but I've even heard people put this in the fridge, and it keeps your paints wet so they don't dry out, especially if you're in between painting multiple colors. How do you keep the mold from growing in there? It doesn't. Believe it or not, it doesn't. I mean, I've had this thing wet now for about a month, and I don't see any mold. No mold builds on the sponge. There's none. This is paint. This is paint from what I did is I filled this up, and I didn't use a parchment paper. But what I did is I just took I realized that my little trays can sit right here and right here, and I can have all my colors mixed. And then if I close this, they just about touch, and that's where that black came from right there. You see how it squeezes on there. But this does lock, and I can then take this and go to the fridge. So it won't grow mold, or at least not that I know of. And these paints have been in here now for about a week, maybe. And you can see I just spilled some paint on there, but that's fine. So I'm going to be working with this black. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to set this back aside. But I've never seen mold. Can't say that. And I've had the thing for a while. I was using it back when I was at when I had the other layout, and no issues there. So I'm just going to grab this paint here. I leave mine in the fridge, and the paint lasts a very long time. Yeah, I had it for like 2 months. Yeah, it works great. It is definitely a good option. Especially, like I said, if you're moving between colors and you've mixed maybe some custom colors, and you don't want to lose those, it's a very good option. I don't think that I put enough thinner in here, or maybe the thinner just ran out, because that looks like my thinner right there. This is very thick paint. But there's too much in there, and I don't want to overrun it. So this paper here, this back paper here, this is actually the roof shingles. So I'm just going to use that as a backer, and I'm going to paint this real quick. So this is the garage door. And then right next to that is the back of the garage door. So I'll get a coat on there. Over here is the windows and some doors and some door trim. We'll get a coat of black on those. And there's actually 2 triangle pieces that you probably can't see now that I covered up. They are for the awning that goes over top of the door. There's a window right here. And there is a door trim and a door window right there. And then this is actually the sign that goes on the top of the building. I was just thinking to myself, I wasn't going to paint it because it's probably going to get covered. But then I realized I don't know which side of it that I'm going to use. So I'm going to paint this one side, and that now determines that I will put the sign on the other side. And of course, this thing is just sucking up paint. So I'm able to put a second coat on here really quickly. And then we're going to flip this over, and we're going to do the other side in a minute. I'm just going to give this a minute to dry because I don't want it to stick. I also don't want to hold you guys up. So what I think I'm going to do is mute you guys for just a minute. And I'm going to pull out my little heater gun thingy. And I'm going to blow some hot air on this thing and see if we can get this to speed up a little bit. I do have one other thing that I want to show you in a minute. Give me just a second. We're going to go and put some heat to this thing. All right. That should be. That is dry. All the way around. Little bit. Okay. Just some spots there around the door. Probably in the middle. All right. Let's do this. Probably didn't need to do that door because it's going to get glued on to the other one. But I do want it to make sure that I get in between all of those individual windows because I don't want those to show as brown at all or paper. So for this one, I'm just going to do around the window just to make sure that I get that window. The rest of that I don't have to do because, again, oh, no, I do have to do this one because this might show through. I guess I could have just did the other side. I don't know. How about I just stop talking and just start painting? Just babbling on tonight. What is wrong with me? Now it doesn't matter what side I use. You know what I do need to find? I need to go to storage and find those little helping hand things that I had that I bought for my airbrush. Came with this little plate that had holes in it, and these little arms that had the little helping hand alligator clips on them. That would really help me with projects like this so that I could get stuff dry faster. Okay, I think that's it for that. Push that aside for a second. I'm going to put my paint back in here. Chat's going a little bit. Bob, you forgot the duck. All right, get that put away. All right, I got this cool little thing, and I got a feeling that I'm going to wind up spilling it. I wish that I could show you a side angle, but I can't. So I'm going to show you a top angle. Okay, this thingy, my kids find this hilarious. This thingy here fills up with water or whatever your cleaning solution is for your that you clean your paints with. There's a little trough right here that comes down to this little pool. In this pool, there are little ridges on there, so you can take your paintbrush after you've painted and you can clean your brush like this. And you can get all the paint out of your brush and clean up your brush really nicely. And the funny thing is, my kids find this hilarious because after you've cleaned your brush, which could take a couple times, you get to push this little button right here and it basically flushes the toilet and then fills up with clean water from here. And then you can clean the brush again and get some more paint out. And all the dirty water goes down into a little container down here. This lid comes off and you can empty out the old water and then refill this with new water when you're done. But my kids love to play with this when I'm painting, and they just randomly run over here and they, quote, flush the toilet. And like I said, all the dirty water goes away and the new water comes in. I have this right now just with regular water, but eventually I am going to fill this up with my the homemade cleaner stuff that I use or that I make for my paintbrushes. But yeah, I just got this in. I ordered it, or did I order it? No, where did I get it from? I bought it from somewhere. And it was real cheap too. It was only like $6 or $7. I forget where I got it now. Aldi. I got it from Aldi. Yeah, it was in one of their, it was like in a seasonal section. There weren't a lot of them there. But I got it at Aldi and I was surprised. And it actually works great. And the best thing is it's got right around the rim of this thing, it's got 2 holes. So if this should overflow, which it shouldn't, any water can be filtered into these little holes here, which just go down into the tray at the bottom. And it also has 4 spots here where you can hold your brushes. What's it called? I got no idea what it's called. Paint cleany thingy. It didn't have a name on the box other than paintbrush cleaner. So it doesn't have a name. I don't know the manufacturer. I do know that I've seen it on Temu in the past, but I sorry, I can't give you a name. Can't see filling that with lacquer thinner. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Lacquer thinner or acetone or something like that probably wouldn't hold up. But yeah, it's my little toilet bowl flusher. I'm almost out of water, actually. But yeah, this thing's been sitting on my workbench now for about a week. I think I got it after the last show that I did. I just got it kind of sitting over there next to my mouse. Clean my brush on a dirty tissue. I think it's time for a new paper towel. Okay, so we're going to let that dry for a minute. Bob, how we doing? How we doing on the How we doing on the responses? How many, do you know how many you got so far? I'd be curious to see the difference between what you had before the show and the difference after. That's what I'm curious about. Pembroke paintbrush cleaning system. There you go. Deep Run Mike knows what it's all about. Paintbrush commode. I like that the best. That is awesome. What is this thing? Happy Valley Hoppy wants to know. I don't know. We're going to call it the commode. The paintbrush commode. That works. Chessie wants to know, or Dwight wants to know what Chessie's going to get. Do you have a prime wood kit like you would with a plastic one? So yes and no. It depends. How can I explain this? I'll tell you what I've been through. A plastic kit, yes, you should prime because the paint will adhere to the primer better than it would to plastic. Depending on the color of the plastic that you're printing on or that you're painting on, is going to determine what color primer you use. You can get a primer in almost any color now in a rattle can. You can get it in regular acrylic paints. I've seen it in black and white, and I've seen it in a gray, or you could just mix the black and white, I guess. On a wood kit, here's the drawback. Whatever you put on the wood is most likely going to get sucked in on the very first pass. So I'm going to say, unless you're doing a building where you're looking for a natural wood look, you probably should, unless you're going for a natural wood look and you're using a stain, then you don't have to prime it. But if you're doing paint, then you should prime it. Unless it's something like black, because black is just going to bleed in and be black anyway. So I don't think you need to prime it that. But if you're going to do a lighter color, like a yellow or a bright orange or a light blue, when you paint that on the wood, it's going to suck right into the wood, and then you're going to have to go over it a couple times in order to get it that blue color. Whereas if you primed it first, you'll be painting one coat on your wood, and that should be enough, I think. There's my 2 cents. I have 5 wood kits to build right now. Awesome. I was just catching up on your channel, I think last week or the beginning of this week, and I would love to see the wood kits that you have to build. I just responded to the survey. Double thumbs up. I'd love to chat, but I have to go get some sleep. Hey, got to do what you got to do. Go grab some sleep. So I can't chat, but I'll keep the stream on my TV and fall asleep. Oh, should I sing you a lullaby? I could do that. I don't know if you want to hear me sing, but I can give you a nursery rhyme of some sort. That would totally tank the show. Amazon link to the brush cleaner thingy. Nice one. Good, Bob. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's jump back down here and see if we can get something glued on. This should be dry. The back of this isn't dry. Oh, well, that's because, yeah. It's not dry because it bled through from the other side. So let's just do this. Let's just take a napkin here and get some of this wet stuff. Get that off, and then we'll be dry. How about that? That sounds good to me. I also have some windows to glue on here, and I'm trying to figure out in what order I want to do that. Whoa, that was not supposed to happen. Talk about safety first. Okay, you in there. Okay. There we go. Nice and tight. There we go. Please don't sing me a lullaby. Okay, no worries. Rick starts singing and watching lights disappear. That's true. That is true. JD's numbers are going to start decreasing. Okay, there's that. One there. Now this is very, very thin stuff, so I'm trying to be very gentle with it, because if you get one tug with the knife or the knife goes in the wrong direction, you got a chance of tearing your print. Rather than cutting your print. And that's not good. All right, so this is supposed to go on this. And I just realized that it would have been really cool if I would have did that in a different color rather than make it all black. I probably should have done something that reflected the stain on the building. Yeah, it's not too bad. It'll work. Especially if I put some white highlights on it, it'll be fine. Not too worried about it. All right, let me get some glue. Aldi has one aisle with miscellaneous merch. Yeah, that's exactly where I found it, in that miscellaneous merch. And I was surprised when I saw it. And of course, the first thing I thought of was what I saw on Temu. And I'm like, this has got to be a better product than what Temu was offering. So I picked it up. And like I said, it was only like $5 or $6. And lo and behold, it works. It does what it's supposed to. Again, guys, be really careful with these. These are like super, super thin. I'm just trying to lightly get those little burrs off without catching this thing and racking it all up. All right, so we're going to do this. Which side looks better? I don't think it matters. I'm just putting a little bit on a couple of the corners. Then I'm just going to drop this in place. And then get it all straightened up. Straight on that end, straight on that end. No glue poking through anywhere, no glue on my fingers. That's the way it's supposed to look. And then we'll glue the acetate glass right in that back hole right there. Yeah, believe it or not, Aldi's has some non-food items. Crazy, but they do. All right. I am going to shoot for the door. Okay, here's the door. The door is this piece. This piece. Trying not to cut that window. Those are really thin. All right, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to separate the door there. Okay. Let's see if we can push. Okay, so there's one. I'm just trying to find where this thing is. There we go. There's that. And there's that. And those get glued together. Got a little bit of spillage of glue. No worries. Maybe I should have cut these out before I painted them. Because now I can't find the lines. That. Okay. There's that. Yeah, now I'm thinking the trim in the door should have been something different. Darn it. It's always the afterthought. What is that? Oh, that's a window. For a minute there, I thought that piece was another door. I'm like, where does that go? There's only one door, but that's actually the cutout for a window. Okay. That's the trim for the door. Yeah, look at that. Doesn't that look like a door? But it's not. It's just a cutout of a window, and I think that window goes in that. Yeah, that's the frame of a window right there. So that window goes in there, I believe. Maybe not. These two frames go into those. So I'm guessing that goes into that. That doesn't look to be the right size, though. You're going to make me cut it out, aren't you? Ooh, 2 helicopter kits. Is that on your channel? I'd love to see those. Yeah, look, everybody's interested. Oh, 1/48 scale. Been pretty busy buying layout items to work on, and the last few records I've been searching for. Hey. Directions are a good thing to look at. Yeah, I mean, they are, but they don't discuss. Oh God, you're gonna. So here's the problem. All right. Here's the problem. We can figure this out together. So you look at mine and you look at what they printed, right? Now here you got garage door, garage door. There was garage door. And then it's got two yellow things or two triangle things down there. Well, my two triangle things are up there. They do mark them with numbers. So now you're saying not only do I have to look at the directions, but I got to read them too. So let's see. What we're looking at or what we're wondering about here looks like it's 104. So if I skim through here, I'm just looking for 104. 101, 102. 300, 304. Foundation slabs. Roof signs, 107. Nothing in here that says 104. No instructions on the back. These are just pictures. It tells you about the glass for 104. Nothing on that side. So, Steve, directions don't always work. Not always. They don't even mention any. So the other part that we're looking at is 109. That's what we think it goes into, but it doesn't mention anything about 109. It mentions 108, which is the frame of the door. So not everything is in the instructions. As I thought. Oh, JD, when is a door not a door? When it's a jar. Oh, JD's got jokes. My bank is Froga's hobbies at the time. Yeah. Rick, that's a lot of words. It is a lot of words. And that's why I usually just skim by them because I don't do good with words. Very illuminating for me as I try to write kid instructions. I'm glad I'd be very happy to send you these if I could scan them and send them over. If you want a copy, it will give you some sort of a guideline to go by. I think I have saved every instructions that I've come up with on all my kits. I know it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to go for a little bit more, and I'm going to see if I can get some of this stuff actually glued to the building because I know that's what you guys want to see. So I'm going to start with this guy here, which is the garage frame. And I'm just going to tack. I'm going to try and get a little bit of glue. Everywhere because I don't want this thing pulling off. I'm afraid that if I only do like little bits in corners, then it'll pull up somewhere or another. All right, and without trying to get this off-centered so I don't smear any glue, just going to line that up with one side, drop it down, and then try and fiddle it in place. I think that's the best we're going to get for that. This one side wants to push off. Okay. That's that for the trim. Both sides want to do that. There we go. And then the door, the door is a very snug fit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a little glue around the interior of the door frame, and I'm going to try and stick this in the back rather than the front to see if I can give just a little bit of depth. Oh, actually, I think I might be able to just glue that to the back. Yeah, I think I have just enough bite that I can glue that to the back. So let's do that. Oh, I do have a glue question for you guys. Give me a second. Let me get this glued in place. All right. I'm going to drop that down. Trying not to smear it. Pushed it. I pushed it. It's really close. It's like I honestly think that it's supposed to fit in the hole. God, let me finish that sentence. I think it's supposed to fit inside the hole because yeah, it's leaving cracks. I could see past the door. Okay, so the problem is the door is too tall. Just slightly, and that's why I can't maneuver it into place. So I'm going to just wipe off some of this glue, and I'm going to have to sand off. There's a little bit more meat on the bottom than there is on the top. So I'm going to have to sand that off and try and get that to stick, because right now it'll fit side to side. I'm not sure if you could see that, but it's a little proud on the bottom, and it won't get past the foundation. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do that on camera. I'm guessing this door is probably going to be the same. Let's take a quick look. Drop that right there. Yeah, because that's not going past the top. So all right, I didn't get as far as I wanted to tonight, but no big deal. You guys know how this goes. You know how it's going to play out. 22 survey responses so far. Woohoo! Thank you guys. Appreciate it. We could definitely use that. Ask Rick about the door on the left lower card above. Is that part of the door in question? On the card, what are you looking at? Yeah, I wish I could do this. Ask Rick about the door on the lower left card above it. Which part are we talking about? That's a different door. If we're talking about this, that's not a door. It looks like a door, but this piece, there's no cut. There's no cut right there. What they did is they took the door frame and put it here, and then they cut a window in. So this window comes out. So that's the window. And that's kind of just a placeholder. That's not a door. Tricky though. And now that we have that out, let's see if this fits in there. So that's the actual window in its frame. So I wasn't gonna cut that out, but because you asked, I did. Now I got to cut this frame out so I don't lose it. I'm going to glue that in there. Okay, so there's the frame. And there's the window that goes in the frame. I guess if I wanted to, I could glue that in sideways and make it look like the window's open. But that's that. Okay, so those two frames right there go in those two windows right there. As I said, these two little triangle things, which you may or may not be able to see, there they go. Those two triangle things actually are a part of an awning that goes on the front door, over top of the front door, which is one of these pieces off here on this card. This is the main roof. These are the two roofs over both of the sheds, and that piece right there is the awning part. And these two pieces right here are just these side angle brackets. So what I will do is I will get the doors and the windows taken care of. I will get these two shed pieces done, these roofs. I will tell you now they are going to be tar roofs. I planned on doing that, so I'll get those done. And I will get done painting the interior black. And then we'll pick up from there. And then what we could do is, I guess the next time I see you guys, we'll work on the roof and putting on the accessories. I'll try and get the accessories painted up too. This way we have that done and we could just glue that together. And then if you guys have any ideas of what we could call this thing, maybe I'll start working up some ideas for the sign that goes on this side and the sign that goes on that side. And then there is a sign. I'll show you the picture here. There's a sign here that goes above the building. Before I let you go, don't go anywhere yet. I do have something. I gotta break the curtain here to get it. But I also need to show you on main cam because of the green screen. So hang on just a second. Okay. Here's my question. For Christmas, I bought my daughter Mackenzie, my 11-year-old daughter. I bought her, I'm not sure if you've seen them, but online, there have been these advertisements for these things called teddy blocks. Teddy blocks are like the Lego big teddy bears that you could build. So Mackenzie wanted one, so I bought one for her. It just so happens that she chose the one that was all green. So this is how far that we've gotten, and we got a couple problems. You can see that there's some gaps in there which shouldn't be in there, and we can't seem to get the thing to sit right every time we put another. So the way that you have to build these things is you start from the bottom and you build the first layer, and then as you go up, you build rings, and then you attach ring by ring by ring by ring. And that's how you put these things together. So because this one's already messed up and it's got gaps and you can see where it's separating, Mackenzie and I decided that we're going to start over. So I'm going to take this apart. But what I want to do is this time when I take it apart, I'm actually going to glue it back together. What I did was I started a new set of feet. So these bottom 2 plates, I created 2 plates, and I wanted to test which glue works best. Let me go over the glues for you. The first one that I tried that I thought I was going to have the most success with is actually made by Flexifile. It is a plastic weld. This says it's a professional plastic weld for the touch and flow system. I love the touch and flow system. See if you can find it. It's absolutely great. It says it bonds ABF, styrene, and acrylic plastics. This is a couple of years old. I did notice that over time, even though the cap is on and it's sealed, this does evaporate. So I'm wondering if maybe what's left in here possibly maybe could just be water. I don't know. But when I tried this, it didn't work. It didn't bond the plastic. Second thing I tried, which is my second go-to glue, was Plastrux Plastic Weld. This says it is a multi-purpose evaporating formula for bonding Plastruct, ABS, styrene, butyrate, and acrylic to itself or to each other. If the first one doesn't work for me, I usually use this one, and that didn't work either. So that kind of like, I went a little nuts with that. Didn't think I had anything else to try, and then remembered I had just one more. And this was what I used on my very first kit when I built the bridge. This is Model Masters liquid cement. The writing on the back of this is way too small for me to read, but I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this. It's like every modeler's dream. This is good stuff. It stinks like crazy, but it works great. Apparently not on this stuff. The only thing that I can think of, I also went and tried my trusty Aleene's tacky glue. Still nothing. Each one of these glues created what I'm gonna refer to as the Elmer's glue effect, where it glues and sits on the top, but can be peeled right back off. So if you remember, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. We used to sit in school and we used to cover our hands in Elmer's glue and then wait for it to dry, and then we could peel it off and we had a whole handprint in glue. That's basically what it's doing. All 3 glues did the same thing. I'm gonna grab my mouse here because you guys are chatting away. Oh, no, this chat's behind. Hold on. That's way behind. Crackle, no crackle. That's the thing. Ed, I don't know what type of plastic it is. It doesn't say anything on the box. And it came from China, so I have no idea. I don't know. Try Gorilla Contact Cement. Thank you. Tamiya makes a good solvent cement. It might be, or you might try lacquer thinner. I do know one of these. I think it is Plastruct. Yes. So Plastruct has, first off, the Flexifile does not have the contents of what this is, so I can't tell you what the formula is. But Plastruct does say its very first ingredient is methyl ethyl ketone, which is MEK. MEK works great on Lego blocks. I can glue Lego blocks together with this and make a plastic bond. So whatever Lego is made out of, this stuff ain't it. But I want to say Tamiya might be the same, but I'm not sure. Child of the 2000s, we did the same thing with our hands with Elmer's glue. Yeah, Elmer's glue. So if you guys have any ideas or any other thoughts, I will definitely grab some Gorilla Glue. And I do have to stop at the hobby store and pick up a couple things. So maybe I'll grab some Tamiya glue to just give it a try. But I can't think of anything else aside from getting Crazy Glue, which I don't want to do because I just don't want to do a big project like this in Crazy Glue. That's going to be insane. I want to keep my digits. You don't glue Lego. Oh, E6000. That's a good idea. I could try that. James, on a normal basis, if they were my models, I know that I build Lego models and they go on a shelf and no one touches them. They only come down if I'm showing them off to someone, and that is only if there is something to show off. Otherwise, I tell people, look but don't touch. But when you give something like this to a 10-year-old or 11-year-old, she's going to constantly be handling it. And there's also, I'm not sure if you could see it, but this little bend in here, this part that looks like I forgot a piece, when you build this, this part is open. And once you get to the top, one of the last instructions is for you to build a drawer that actually goes in here. So on the back of the teddy bear, there's actually a secret drawer where you can keep stuff. So if my 11-year-old is going to be handling this and keeping stuff in it, the last thing I want her to do is drop this. So yes, on a normal occasion, I would say you don't glue Lego. But in this case, for the sake of my sanity of having to put it back together twice, I want to try and glue it. All right. So with that note, we're already over on main cam. If you guys have any other suggestions, please put them down in the comments so that I could try it out. So far, we've got Tamiya glue, Gorilla Glue, and E6000. I will try those and I will report back to you what I find. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know we went a little late tonight, but I appreciate you hanging in with me as always. I'm going to roll over to the credit screen if I can find the button right there. Hey, right over there, I'm going to put a link to one of my other videos. Down in the corner over there, I'm going to put a link to one of my playlists. And then right below me is that subscribe button. Guys, don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you so much. Have a great night, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.